Gentlemen, the purpose of this press conference is to assure our members, particularly the grassroots of DP, that we are going to be very visible on the ground. I want to thank those who have chosen to pick our flag. There are many. These are not the only ones. You, our candidates, are the ones who are going to take our message to the people. DP has a message, and the messages are contained in our manifesto. Some of you, maybe you read these things, but you forget them. It is important that you all understand why we are in this fight. We said we want servant leadership. So what's the biggest problem in Uganda? It is abuse of power. It is as simple as that. You don't need to go and have a degree in political science to understand Uganda's problem. Whether it is human rights, whether it is stealing government money, whether it is just abuse of power. It is like rape. Rape is also abuse of power. God has given you something and you misuse it. God has given you energy, you misuse it to subdue somebody. So the answer to abuse of power is to hold power accountable. And so far there is no better system that has been found than what we call democracy. So servant leadership, we must have this view of servant. You have been hearing misguided entitlement by some of our elected leaders. There is no leader who owns a constituency. I hear people say, my constituency, my people. The constituency belongs to the voters. And they can choose whoever they want. And whoever they have chosen is the member of parliament. The rest is just noise. So those you see yelling on social media, that is a misguided sense of entitlement. So in addition to servant leadership, and DPs, wherever they have been true servants of the people. If you doubt, you go to the offices which are occupied by DP members. Come, for instance, to the Ministry of Justice, and then go to another ministry. Then you'll see the difference between where DP is in charge and where DP is not in charge. We are true servants of the people, and I urge you people to really be true servants of the people. Number two is reconciling Uganda. This country is hurting. There's no part of Uganda which is not hurting. From Kasese to Karamoja to northern Uganda to here in Buganda, people have pain. Those of you who followed the National Prayer Breakfast, you heard the testimony of Chris Rwakasisi. I never ever met him. I was very young when he was very powerful, but I'm sure people like Muzei Rwanga know what the name means. He talked about his own abuse of power. And they talked about how eventually he was able to be forgiven by President Museveni. And now he has been humbled. So reconciling Uganda is very important because we only have this one country. So when I hear somebody say, I can't talk to this one, I can't sit with this one, those are the enemies of Uganda. You cannot say you can't talk to anybody. In addition to reconciling Uganda, we are seeking to build a new consensus. Okay, what is a consensus? A consensus means you emphasize points of agreement. We all have points of disagreement. Even those who are married, I'm sure there are things about your spouse that you don't like. And maybe you can't even change them. But for you to be mentally sound and not to run mad, you focus on the things on which you agree. As Uganda, there are many things we agree on. Who does not want to get out of poverty, honestly? I've not found somebody who does not want to get out of poverty. I only heard one candidate saying he's going to abolish the program which is trying to give money to the poor, called the PDM. So one candidate is saying he's going to increase it 3 times. Another candidate says he's going to reduce it to 0. He has obviously become his own chief decampaigning manager. Why would you decampaign yourself like that? So that is what the new consensus is about. A new consensus recognizes that we have failed. The first consensus was Lancaster House Consensus, 1961. Kennedy Mutenyo's father was there in that meeting in London. Another man who was there is the man we were honoring in Kitgum 2 days ago, Tiberio Okeny Atwoma. They sat there, they made the 1962 Constitution. That is the instrument of consensus. When they came back to Uganda, within 4 years after independence, they were fighting. Guns were blazing just here in this Rubaga division at the Lubiri. When I was last here, I told you about the 2 blocks, and some people laughed. But I hope you are beginning to understand that frame. People always understand me much later, after I've already spoken and the things that I've spoken have come true. I'm not a prophet, but I just walk with open eyes and open ears. Some people close their ears and close their eyes. So they keep knocking walls, as you can see. Some people are now knocking walls, yet they have eyes. I told you that we are at a delicate moment. We have got a sitting president who is 81 years old. And he owes Uganda a lot. The Bible says, to whom much is given, much is expected. There is no leader who has ever had the opportunity of 40 years to lead Uganda. So President Museveni is highly indebted to Uganda. And what is that debt he has to pay? Peaceful change. That's the one thing Ugandans have not seen. Congo has seen it. Even Burundi, people we laugh at, have seen it. And a number of African countries, including Tanzania. Okay, they have not changed from one party to another, but they have been changing leaders. Something which we have not even seen in, I wish to be excused for 3 minutes. There is an urgent matter the Minister of Justice has to attend to by putting his signature. You know, every 5 years we have to review special interest groups. So let me deal with that. But it is done. So I was talking about the new consensus and the blocks that we need in Uganda. So you have a leader who owes the country a lot. And all the young people in Uganda of course, are now too political. So the new consensus must be based on people who are willing to look for points of agreement, not who are emphasizing points of disagreement. So I came and told you that you are going to see the president, but you're also going to see people. So when you see Mao, it is not Mao really. I hear people saying, we cannot allow elites to sit and discuss our future. What is that parliament? These are about 500 and something people. They are the ones who are discussing. They represent interests. Don't be surprised if the next government is actually a government of national unity. Don't be surprised. Because everybody needs to be represented in the institutions of government. That's why we have political parties. So you saw what happened in Kololo. We were there. And nothing happened. The sky did not fall. You know, the FDC president Amuriat had been saying President Museveni stole his shoes. Don't you remember in the last campaign? So he was moving barefoot. And each time we would have Ipod meeting, they would not attend the summit. And they would say, the Maos and Akenas have gone for drinking tea and photo opportunity. But didn't you see them there? So I don't want you people to push people to make mistakes. Please spare the leaders of Uganda. Don't push them to make mistakes. Now you people in the grassroots are the ones pushing Nup. How will you be seen sitting with the dictator in the same tent? This is the president of Uganda. The Ipod is like a interreligious council of Uganda. Imagine if the Muslims went to harass the Mufti. You can't sit with those people, they eat pork. What stupidity is that? Interreligious Council of Uganda has objectives. I don't eat pork myself, I'm not a Muslim. But imagine if the Muslims started saying, don't be part of Interreligious Council of Uganda because some of them, they eat pork, the Christians eat pork. Or these other ones say, those ones marry many wives, they are polygamists. You can't be... Nobody is trying to tell Archbishop Kajimba. Sorry, Kazimba. Nobody is telling Archbishop Kazimba to marry 4 wives. And nobody is telling His Eminence, the Mufti, that now eat pork. But they go to talk about the virtues of Islam, the virtues of Christianity, which are actually shared virtues. So I wish to warn the so-called foot soldiers. You are making your leaders to make mistakes. And the leaders also, be leaders. How can I say, I'm a leader, but I'm saying, Katulagewa, where should we go now? And they say, now go here. Then you say you're a leader? That's not leadership. A leader must go ahead and survey the place. In the Bible, we have the story of Moses. Moses led people in very rough terrain. But because of confusion, they took 40 years. I'm told that journey from Egypt to the Promised Land is a journey of maybe 11 days on foot, if you are walking non-stop. 11 days. Why did they take 40 years? Because of confusion. So Uganda by now should be a very highly developed country, very united and strong, a superpower. But because of the followers are misleading the leaders. The leaders don't have confidence about their own vision. They lack conviction. So if I'm a president of a party, how can a foot soldier tell me, how will they see you sitting with the dictator in the same tent? I am your leader. and you have a choice. Go and follow someone else. That's the new DP that we are building. That if you think that you are too good for what you are doing, this gate is always open. There is always exit. Now, some of them left, but they are now coming back. Why? Because they found that they had been misled. As I talk now, so many of the dropouts of Kavule are knocking on our door. Yes. For us, we don't reject anybody. So please stop misleading the leaders of NUP by posting on social media. I see people are dramatizing it. They're bringing old statements. People grow. People grow. Let's assume that they have... Whatever the reason, whether you are talking of money, whether you're talking... For me, I don't care about the reason. The thing is, we are in this country together, and we must find a way to sit together to talk about it. So, save these young leaders of ours. Don't push them to become extremists. That used to happen also. You know, there were those who were pushing President Museveni. How can you talk to coin? You cannot talk to coin. You won a guerrilla war. Even this one, you are going to win it militarily. There's no need for peace talks. So 20 years, our people suffered there in the north because some people are pushing the president. Even us as leaders, we were being pushed by our people. Don't work with the government. They have killed our people. They have raped our people. I went to London. I sat in a meeting of the Acholi people during the Kachokema Dit. When the representative of Joseph Kony came to give a speech, it was as if it was the Pope who had arrived. He brought out a long speech, and his first statement was, "I bring you greetings from Major General Joseph Kony." There were cheers for 5 minutes. Now, we, the elected leaders, were there shrinking like a chicken that have been beaten by rain. Justice Owindolo, Chief Justice now, at that time he was MP and Minister. Norbert Mao was there. Regan Okumu was there. Jane Akwero Duong was there. Okello Okello was there. 11 of us, seasoned leaders, highly educated. We see our people are tuned in to FM Kony. They blasted us. Look at them. They are there in Uganda, that they are MPs. Instead of supporting Kony, why are you going to that parliament of Museveni? You should be supporting Kony. I wanted, you know me, Sisirika, put up my hand to talk. My colleagues were saying, no, don't talk. Eventually, I just got up and requested for the microphone. I said, my people, my name is Norbert Mao. I'm only 29 years old. I see among you senior military leaders who were in the government in Uganda. A small group came from the bush and evicted you from power. First explain what happened. First admit that you failed. That's why you ran away. You fled. If you had not fled, we would not be suffering. So stop lecturing us about political judgment and so on. You should be apologizing to us from extremism. You are pushing them to get lost. And when you post these videos, now you are finally kneeling for money. This is not about money. These young people are Ugandans, and they represent a section of people who are demanding certain changes in our society. But they just need to be guided so that they do it properly. So you are going to see them in the same tent with all the rest of us, and they will talk their own issues. There is no flash disk that is going to be put on the head of a NUP leader that you must only say what is on the flash disk. You come and say what you want. But you people are inciting them, making them even to be afraid. That's why I hear some people that when they are going to see President Museveni, they wear hijab, they wear gomesi, yet they are men. Why do we want to reduce our country to that level? Don't you see Nancy Pelosi? When she goes to meet Trump, those days when she was speaker, and yet she had just torn the president's speech. She got Donald Trump's speech and just ripped it apart and threw it, saying rubbish. But the next day, because of the economy of America, she was in the White House. Now people think it is a matter of pride. The Sirinyangamo State House. How can that also be a matter to be proud of? Please, save our young leaders. Don't lead them into temptation. You're making it hard for them. So it is only courageous people like DP, because our cooperation with the NRM has a history, and we want it to have a future. And it is just the nucleus, and you can see others are gathering around it. For this time, this transitional talk we are having, the talk about transition, we need everybody on board. We are not going to, that's why even though the media calls me, what do you now have to say about Noop's change of heart? What do you want me to say? If somebody has changed their opinion, they've changed their opinion. Am I the one to explain it to you? If a witch doctor decides to get saved, now you don't interview other people and say, tell us what you think about this. We must just be shouting with joy. So we must be shouting with joy by saying, hallelujah. These people now want to sit together with the other leaders to look for where they can what they can agree about. But you Ugandans, you are there teasing the young man, especially you the bloggers. You put somebody there, since Akorachi, what, to hell with your Ipod, what? Then a few moments later, sentence of solo, what? Please, let us have some silence on that topic. Because we are missing an opportunity. We are missing an opportunity. We wouldn't have suffered in 1966. Now me and Leandro, because he's a bit of my generation, me by the time I was born, at the age of 4 years, the army takes over the government. Amin comes. At the age of 12, Amin is falling. At the age of 14, we have a guerrilla movement running around. And to go to Gulu, I have to pass via Tororo, Mbale, Soroti, Lira. I can't take this part here. Because they were shooting people on the road. There were landmines and so on. By the time I'm finishing high school, the Luwero people are arriving. Now we have got this 1995 constitution, which is 30 years old. So, stop leading our leaders into temptation. It is not useful. And even DP, we have made some mistakes, like 96, when our leaders, out of anger, said, don't participate in the parliamentary elections. That's how Lumpens took over the city. Yes, because we decided to take a back seat just because we are annoyed. And I'm sure there were people who misguided our leaders. They have robbed your votes. How can you even now go for parliamentary election? What? Leaders must lead with courage. Because leaders don't look at 5 years, 10 years. In future, you people will, when I'm long gone, you'll build a statue of me. In 50 years' time, you'll say there was a man called Norbert Mao. He did things which others thought were not acceptable, but he saved us. So, That is about the new consensus. You know, this campaign does not have vibe. Just because there's no tear gas. How can you wish tear gas for people? I don't like tear gas myself. Isn't it a good thing when a party president moves with his crowd and goes to a rally now? He must now deliver a message. Because now you must now come out of the katemba of saying, you see how we were blocked, you see how we were this, you see these soldiers, they're harassing us. No, that is not there. Give your message to Ugandans. Can you be trusted? Uganda needs a steady hand in this period. It is like removing this bile from the liver. They call it what? Akaka. Huh? Akalulwe. Can you trust somebody with shaky hands to remove it? The whole liver will spoil. Somebody who comes and you just say, please, 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 move. You need a steady hand to cut it out so that Uganda can be safe. There is bile in Uganda. I'll be the last to deny it, but it can be removed if you stop inciting people. So now, Nandala Mafabi and Amuriat came to the tent. We stood with them to welcome the president. So, did the sky fall? Did the sun now start rising from the west and setting in the east? It is not a big deal. Now, but you people now, that, oh, the president just wants to take a photo with me. Who are you really? That taking a photo with you is such a big deal. It is not about the photo. It is about saying, I am sitting in this tent, but I have my own vision of how Uganda should be run. And these are the points of difference. When you go to Ipod meeting, there's no brain transplant that when you arrive, they remove your brain, then they put in something else. You go with your brain. Unless you don't have any in the first place. But if you have, why should you fear? Me, I can even argue with a witch doctor. Why should you? I don't fear sitting with a witch doctor. To raise their points, I also raise mine. But I cannot just start saying, how will I be seen? Pope Francis showed us the best example when he took off to Saudi Arabia and met the Grand Mufti. All the Catholics were saying, Atachi Susiza. And he sat. And they signed something called the Abrahamic Accord. And they said, Ishmael, the ancestor of the Arabs, and Isaac are both children of Abraham. Now, we are both children of Uganda. Whether you are there with your red beret, with the pips, weighing you down, it really doesn't matter. That's just a piece of cloth. It's just a piece of cloth. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Whether you wear a kanzu, whether you wear a trouser, if you're a man, you're a man. If you're a woman, you're a woman. Even if you dress up like this, you're still a woman. It's just a cloth. So I beg Ugandans, stop pushing leaders to make mistakes. And it is on both sides. I told you, those who are pushing President Museveni not to consider peace talks. True, he had weakened the LRA considerably, but it was still important to talk about the cause that led to that war. So a true leader must make a tough decision. You are in charge of the army, you are even in charge of the Bank of Uganda. What happened? And I told them, the mere fact that you are saying you are in exile, that's not a badge of achievement. Even me, I pulled out my passport. I said, even me, I can tear my passport right now and go to the Queen's government and also declare that I'm running away from Museveni. Then I'll be given refugee status. I start receiving some pounds every week. This is total humiliation. Your fathers, your husbands, you are here lining up for the Queen's money. And you are lecturing me, Norbert Mao, who is the hope of your mothers and other relatives you ran away from in Uganda. A true defender of his people must stand between the enemy and the people. Now you have put the people to shield you. The room was silent. The next day, they wrote to me a 14-page letter of insults. You know, Mao, the mother is a Munyankore, this is Museveni's nephew, he's very arrogant, listen to the way he talks and what, and I said, it means I've touched something. But that was the beginning. So Uganda needs straight talk. Straight talk brought us to Juba. Eventually, we built a consensus. So, please, please, the new Uganda must be based on a new consensus. And I'm glad that the campaign is exposing those who actually are serious about what they are talking and those who actually are empty. They are just looking for how can we provoke police to do something. I had the Nakaseke campaign of the NUP candidate. It was not easy, by the way, because he went through the place, and that's the heartland of NRA. No incident. Eventually, the speech was about General Salim Saleh. That was my Charlie. You are my Charlie. Is that a presidential campaign? You must talk about what you are going to do for the coffee farmers of Nakaseke. The man you are talking about is the one who has built the biggest industrial park in Nakaseke, employing thousands of people, a market for people's fruits and so on. So for once, let Ugandans make this a deep conversation. I think you are not helping us, you in the media. You are keeping the conversation too shallow. When President Mao of DP is talking with President Museveni to agree on something, that is a wheelbarrow. You even draw his cartoon with a gun in his butt. What obscenity is that? When NUP is now considering coming to publicly sign the MOU, because it has to be signed publicly. Yes. Now you start drawing his cartoon that is kneeling, pleading, that is now knocking, wagwan, what? You people are really making it difficult for leaders to lead. You are putting the person in a very tight corner. Don't turn this into a joking topic. That group represents a sizable population of Uganda, and they need to be represented well. Forget about their fights over tickets and so on. Uganda is if Uganda was to be a person, Uganda is still an adolescent. Uganda is still Uganda chawunya kavuvuka. That is really where Uganda is. So don't be surprised by the behavior of some of these politicians. It is because people are doing okuwaga. In Luganda they say, kaliba kasajja akulisa engo. Someone comes and praises you. You are the toughest hunter ever since. I don't know who has been the greatest hunter in Buganda. Musajja alumbwa. Eh? Dungu. That you are actually number 2 to Dungu. Gwe twakalabyeko. Era gwe musika wa Dungu. Eh? Ngayika. Then you go there and you meet an angry buffalo. And there will be a funeral in your village. Kaliba kasajja akulisa engo. So Ugandan, even those of you who are in DP, you see, the difference between me is, the DPs make noise, but I'm the leader. My responsibility, in fact, if I make a bad decision, if ever I'm supposed to go to hell, There will be a special compartment for me, the hottest one. Because God will say, you were the chief executive of DP. You were leading people. Why did you allow foot soldiers to influence you? Are they the ones who he lifted the Bible and took the oath? Even with President Museveni, when he made the choice now to talk peace to the rebels, there were people who were opposed, they refused. There's one general who he had to order to go to Juba. Even when he reached Juba, he put dark glasses. That's my brother, General Tema. He didn't want to hear about the Juba. He thought it was a big joke. Even when he sat there, he was pointing his shoulders to the chairman of the peace talks, Dr. Riek Machar. Because he's a combatant. So we understood his feeling. The soldiers that had died under his command, those whose legs are amputated, the widows, the orphan. So when somebody talks, understand where they are standing and where they are coming from. But President Museveni stuck to his decision and said, let the peace talks continue. So what Uganda needs is just leadership. And that's what we are doing here in DP. We hear a lot of noise. They come and drop pigs here. They do what? But that is nothing. We are at the time of Moses when you say Canaan is where we are going. Whether we are going to eat one meal a day, whether we are going to sleep hungry for days, that is where we are going. Whether some of us arrive there or not, but our job is to point the direction fearlessly and command our people to go there. And of course, as we move, some people keep dropping out. But those who drop out, eventually we hear them chasing after us. Wait, we are also now on the way. And we hear them. There are those who had misbehaved. I thought I should stress that point, that the new Uganda must be made out of a new consensus, and that new consensus will be spearheaded by leaders who are not afraid to take unpopular decisions. The fact that you are many does not mean you are right. And the fact that you are few does not mean you are wrong. In that parliament, I and Honorable Mara Tubo wrote a minority report. I'll share it with you. It is a document I'm very proud of. Everything we put in that report was rejected by Parliament. But as I talk now, everything that was rejected has been implemented. It means if you feel in your heart that you are right, stand firm. But now you have leaders who are not standing firm. So, I will hold consultations as chairman of the Ipod Summit and see whether there is a possibility of convening an extraordinary summit so that these Ugandans can move with the rest of the citizens and leaders. It is not a big deal, but you people, you make it appear like it's a big deal. That's why sometimes I like Trump. Americans used to talk about North Korea. When you hear about North Korea, you think that is Gehenna. Trump said, I'm going to Gehenna, if that's the case. And he crossed into North Korea, the first American president ever. Did he die? He didn't. He shook hands with Kim Jong-un, who had been accused of mass murder, of what, starving his people. He said, if it will bring peace in this Korean peninsula, so be it. And now he's on the case of this Hamas and so on. He has been tough on Israel, saying, no. Stop bombing Gaza. That's leadership. People are there holding demonstrations, what. He says that is where we should go. That is the spirit of Christopher Columbus when he was sailing to America. His sailors were rioting. There was a mutiny on the ship. He said, sail on until they reached land. So, we must know what are the ingredients of leadership. Sure, I don't need to elaborate. And the fifth, shared prosperity. I've named 5. servant leadership, reconciling Uganda, a new consensus, ending corruption, shared prosperity. Now, to the youth of Uganda, you do not know the good life ahead of you. There is such a good life awaiting Uganda that those of us who are now almost 60 years old, we are a bit envious of the Uganda that you young people are going to enjoy. For many years, our president was moving very slowly on the oil fields. His position was, until we are ready with the laws that can protect our oil, with the infrastructure that can facilitate export, like the pipeline, with the credible partners to pump the oil out of the ground, and until we also have a refinery, so that finally we can move straight from the oil fields, refine, and bring to our petrol stations, so that we have cheap petrol and diesel, kerosene, and even jet fuel. His policy was, our oil is safer under the ground until we have created the conditions for it to benefit Ugandans. People criticized him. Why is the oil delaying? Why is this? Now he has been proved right. Now, in about 2 years, the oil is going to start coming out in huge quantities. This so-called national debt you are talking about, Uganda will now become a country that lends money to others. We will no longer be borrowing. When now we are having a meeting, we will now be negotiating with people who are asking, mutusalire ku interest. But right now it is the reverse. We are the ones begging, please, the interest is too much, conditions are too tough. So you young people, don't be misled. Don't be misled. All this prosperity, you are the ones going to enjoy it so much. You are going to find that you are able to buy an apartment at very little interest, if not zero interest. You are going to find that you are going to have education. The state will be capable of unleashing all the infrastructure. These slums will be gone because there will be resources. So don't let anybody tempt you to think that your future is bleak. Your future is not bleak. I tell you because I know. And that's what they call shared prosperity. You go through a tough time, but for a better future. So let us not follow those who are sloganeering. Uganda is an extremely blessed country, but let's manage the politics. Because if the politics is wrong, even the economics will be wrong. And of course, our point number one was a government of national unity. I hope you people are seeing the grand coalition coming. It is actually shaping up. Some of you think we have 8 candidates. We don't have 8 candidates. We only have 2 competing belief systems. There are those who think if someone has been on a tree for long, they should bring an axe and cut down the tree. Then there are those of us who say, why cut down the tree? Let us fashion a ladder. That's the transitional program. So those who are down, who qualify to go up, can climb the ladder. And the one who is up, who must come down, can come down. But if I'm here threatening to throw you from on top of a tree so that you break your bones, I'll do everything possible to make it hard for you, if not impossible. And if you are coming with an axe to cut the tree, that is destruction. So the big consensus is building up. And those who are against consensus are being increasingly isolated in every sense of the word. The Constitution will require a second look. We need a national truth and reconciliation process so that we have healing. We have learned that we need presidential term limits, and it must be entrenched. I think Ugandans all agree on that now. Our parliament is too big. We need to look at what DP has always been talking about, proportional representation, so that we have a parliament of a reasonable size. Even the districts are too many. When I was elected an MP, we had 39 districts. I don't know whether you people remember that. We had 39 districts. Now we have more than tripled. We need devolution. Not all power should be in Kampala. We need decisions to be made at the lower levels. For instance, if this Rubaga here is given its budget for roads, you don't have to go and demonstrate against President Museveni. You go and demonstrate against your mayor. We must decentralize power. And the model that we can do now is the one of Kenya. There are many victims of the wars we have had in Uganda. We need to find a way of compensating the victims in a non-discriminatory manner. Some of us even think military service should be compulsory. I think it will discipline the youth. You know, military life disciplines you because you develop a routine. And in exchange, you get free university education. If after finishing S6, you go and do military service for 2 to 3 years, afterwards the state now pays for you. You come back when you are fit, you come back when you are strong, but you remain a reserve in the army until the age of 55. And you will have a number. When there's a war to be fought, you will be called and taken for refresher course, then deployed in the front line. Who do you want to die for you? You who is here. Who do you think was born to die for you? My father was a soldier. One of my sons is going in there. So who do you think? We must be ready to die for our country. I see some of you shaking your head when I'm talking about. Who do you think your job is only to blog, but to No. Pick up your gun and go and say, we are chasing you back. Who do you think was born to die for you? This is our country. In fighting corruption, we are proposing the establishment of what we call Stolen Assets Recovery Tribunal. There are many things that have been stolen in this country. There must be a system of recovering them. In Kenya, the other day you saw the assets of a certain governor are being auctioned. If you hear tomorrow that Mao has a tall building in the middle of Kampala, and you know my salary, surely you should ask, how did he get it? So soon, the stolen assets will start declaring their owners. If the owners are not declaring their assets, the assets will declare them. Then we will know. We have forever been proposing a parliamentary system of government. Right now it is not popular, but we have our reasons. We want an executive head of the government who goes to parliament every day to defend the policies. Not to have what we call an imperial presidency, who is so high up there, almost untouchable and not accountable. You rather have a ceremonial president, and then you have a working chief executive who must account to parliament. That is our belief. When we say it, as usual, because all of you in this country, all you are thinking is centered around President Museveni. There will one day come a day when the President Museveni is not there. So then your politics will end, because it is only around one man. For us, DP, our politics is based on our beliefs. By 1954, we didn't know about any of your confusion. We stated our objectives and launched our party. Even the cabinet needs to be reduced. Those are proposals that DP has. We are proposing what now you could call PDM. We called it conditional cash transfer. There are people who are very vulnerable in our society. There's nothing wrong with giving them some cash. But that cash cannot just be for free. You must change your behavior. Number one, you must enroll your children in school. In fact, those are conditions which should be put even in PDM. If you are asking for PDM money, but you are not even taking your children to a UPE school, then you are not worthy of support. You must not be an alcoholic or an abuser of drugs. Those are conditions. So before you receive PDM money, you stop alcoholism. But the Ugandans are so arrogant, one day they even told the First Lady that PDM means that personal drinking money. How do you talk like that? That no, this money is personal drinking money. Who told you this? This is Ugandan money. More than $1 trillion. And now, President Museveni is increasing it to 3 trillion every financial year. Now, some of you, of course, who have money, 3 million, or maybe $1 million, appears like it is very small. But I've seen what $1 million can do when it is given to the right person. The cost of electricity needs to be handled. And finally, we are happy that the amalgamation is on course. Because previously, there was UEB, Uganda Electricity Board. Then UEB was split into 3. A generation company, transmission company, then distribution company. All those are centers of profit, and they want to milk you. So the generation company milks you, the transmission company milks you, then the distribution company also milks you. When now you amalgamate it all, then the milker will only be one. And that will bring down the cost of electricity. And of course, the investments that have been made to increase the megawatts. We need a national health service, which is anchored by a national health insurance scheme. All children below the age of 5 must get free treatment anywhere. And all those who are senior citizens, that is above the age of 70, should get free treatment. This other one, I wrote about it. Young people, marriage is an important institution because there is no nation without a family. If you don't have a family, then you cannot build a nation. Our proposal is that young people who marry and marry young and they commit to start a family will get a very low interest mortgage. It will protect property rights of men and women, because if you are in your 20s, like my young friend there, you decide to get married to your sweetheart, your marriage certificate is an important document. You'll get a land title with both your names, because that is how to promote equality also. That is your matrimonial home. And you can pay the mortgage over a 20-year period because the money you pay will be so small, the installments. Those are ways of encouraging the institution of marriage and also encouraging what we call home ownership. Is to find another administrative capital city for Uganda. Kampala remains a commercial city. Some of you think New York is the capital of America. It is not. Capital of America is Washington, D.C. Some of you think that Florida is the capital of the state, or I mean Miami. You think Miami is the capital of the state of Florida. It is not. It is actually a city called Tallahassee, which you have never heard of. What do you think is the capital of the state of California, the richest state in America? Some of you will say Los Angeles, San Francisco. No way. It is a small city called Sacramento. So when you have people who think upside down, then they think that the Bizimbe is what makes a capital city. The Tanzanians made that tough decision and moved away from Dar es Salaam and went to Dodoma. Now there's a superhighway between Dar es Salaam and Dodoma. In Nigeria, everybody knew Lagos. They turned it into a commercial city and moved the capital to Abuja. Even in Uganda, we can find a place somewhere in the center of Uganda and acquire square miles and square miles of land and start a foundation for a capital city to administer this country. These are ideas of DP, because some of you may think because we don't have a presidential candidate, we don't have a manifesto. Manifesto means what you manifest. So manifesto is not a list of promises. I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do this. Manifesto means that the values you manifest. For instance, if I believe that all human beings are equal, that's my manifesto. And then the programs flow from that belief. If all human beings are equal, that means they must have equal access to health services, to education. But people think a manifesto is a shopping list. I'll build this road, I'll build this market, I'll put Nikon to there, that's not a manifesto. Manifesto is about the things that you believe. Like the manifesto of Christians is just three things. It is I believe that Jesus came, he died, and he will come back. And it is that hope of his return which is our manifesto. And we know that when he comes, he will balance the books. If you have stolen even one crystal of sugar from Mao and you're hiding it, that person who knows justice will come and get that crystal from you and bring it back. So don't confuse people. Manifesto ye iriwa. Manifesto, now you have our manifesto here. We are going to publish it so that you members of parliament can have something to talk. Because many of you talk about things which don't concern you. You now go, you're a member of parliament. You tackle a topic which is very, way deep, really. You see, it is like you are Owesaza, but you are talking about the budget of the Lukiko. Really, why don't you tell the member of Lukiko to come and talk about it? Your area is just you are supposed to deal with Bulungi Bwansi. You make sure the Luwalo to go and put resources in the basket of the king so that the king can implement programs. But now you want to go and talk about the relationship between Buganda and the central government. Sure, Owesaza? Really, Owesaza, that's not for you. So, if you are from Gombolola, they say the way Gombolola, you cannot talk about that. So these are our very, very solid ideas, which we believe in, and we invite Ugandans to embrace the Democratic Party and also fight the spirit of blackmail and intolerance. The reason I talked a lot about this Ipod thing is because you people are blackmailing people. Stop blackmailing Bobi Wine. And even him, he should stop reckless talk. I heard him in Bujiri the other day blackmailing Basalirwa. That, oh, Basalirwa, we did what? Now he's there eating in the Ipod and this and that and this and that. That's not necessary. In fact, since we don't have a candidate in Bujiri municipality, I think I'll propose that DP should go and campaign for Basalirwa. We need him in that parliament. He's a solid person. And to make it appear as if signing the Ipod MOU is a crime, then why are you asking to sign it yourself? Isn't that total madness? You go to Bugiri, you see a crowd. You know there are people who get drunk on crowds. The moment they see a crowd, it is like alcohol. They just say anything just because there is cheer. The best rally is the rally where people are quiet and are listening to the issues. But when you go there, hey, now like this, Basalirwa, the other day we fought for him. He has become an MP. We were embarrassed when again he went and signed the Ipod MOU. Meanwhile, your Secretary General is begging to come and sign that same MOU. So why do you go there to... So I'm going to Bugiri to explain to the voters of Bugiri what this thing is about. We must protect those who are tiptoeing towards consensus. They are there blackmailing Mpuga. What? You find they have set up fake accounts on Twitter, Mpuga Yalia, what? All of them are eating. So what's the problem? The leader of opposition has a convoy like that of the Prime Minister. Is that a problem? Why are they not talking about it? And he's busy, he's even moving in a government car to go and campaign, using government fuel to go and campaign. So we are going to bust them, because the time has come to speak the truth about those who are telling lies to us. I want to answer a few questions in English and we close this thing. Byonna bye twogera byesigamye ku kintu kimu nti nga Democratic Party tulina ebirowoozo byaffe, ebiruubirira byaffe. Kuba abamu muyinza okwebuuza nti DP ku luno temuyina ayeesimbyewo ku bwa president, muyina manifesto? Tuyina manifesto. Kubanga manifesto yeesigama ku bye mukkiririzaamu. Ng'omubala gwaffe bwe gugamba, amazima n'obwenkanya, truth and justice. Manifesto yaffe egamba twagala tubeere ne gavumenti ng'eri ku musingi ogw'amazima n'obwenkanya. Buli omu kyalwanirira. Ate bwe twebuuza nti ekizibu kya Uganda kye ki? Ekizibu kya Uganda kye ky'abantu abalina obuyinza naye nga babukozesa bubi. Abuse of power. Okubeera n'obuyinza n'obukozesa mu bukyamu, mu ngeri enkyamu, ng'otulugunya abantu. Togoberera amateeka. Obeera ng'emmotoka etalina breeki. Ne wobeera n'emmotoka kiroole amagulu 36, olina okubeera ne breeki ennene. Constitution ya Uganda ewa abantu... Is your girlfriend? Wamulimbye. Ekyo kye kigendera kya Democratic Party. Ensonga zaffe ziri 5. Esooka, obukulembeze buba buweereza. Omuntu yenna amanyi era asobola okuweereza aba mukulembeze. Mu Luzungu bakiyita servant leadership. Naye mu Uganda osanga abantu nga beegulumiza. Abalonzi bange, constituency yange, abantu bange. Gwani oli Katonda oba kiki? Abalonzi be basalawo ani abakiikirira. Era omuntu yenna gwe balonze abeera mukiise waabwe. Twewale nnyo bano abantu abeegulumiza nga balowooza ba kitalo nnyo. Mu DP tuli beetoweze, era bw'olaba ekitongole kyonna nga kikulirwa Democratic Party olabawo enjawulo. Abakiwakanya kati nze nkulira Ministry ya Justice. Mukyaleyo mulabe engeri gye tutambuzamu emirimu gyaffe, mugende ne mu ministries endala. Mu ministries endala toyinza na kutuuka ku floor minisita bw'atuula, ate nga oli Munnayuganda. Ne palamenti kennyini, palamenti kati eringa barracks. Oba muwakana mugendeyo muyingireyo. Gendayo ku geeti ogambe nti ndi mulonzi w'e Butambala nzize kulaba mubaka wange. Bajja gamba olina appointment, ate appointment olina gikolera mu ofiisi y'omubaka. Tomutuuseeko, kati appointment onoogikolera wa? Lino eggwanga lyaffe, buli muntu gwe bawadde obuvunaanyizibwa aba muweereza waffe. Tulina okuteeka Uganda ku musingi ogwo. Omuntu yenna alina obuyinza, alina okumanya nti bamwaziseeko ku buyinza obwo, naye nga bw'abantu. Ensonga ey'okubiri, lino eggwanga lirina ebisago. Twagala obukulembeze obusobola okunyiga ebiwundu bya Uganda. Kobeere Karamoja, kobeere Kasese, kobeere Mambuka, kobeere wane mu Buganda wano naddala mu Luweero Triangle. Tulwanyaganye, tubadde mu kuttiŋŋana, twetaaga kusonyiwagana na kwenenya. Awatali ekyo tetujja kusobola kuzimba ggwanga lino. W'osoma ebyafaayo by'amawanga gonna, tunuulira Nigeria. Nigeria waliwo eggwanga lye bayita ba Ipod. Mu myaka gy'enkaaga baateesa ne bagamba nti mu Nigeria muno nga batunyigiriza nnyo, tutondewo ensi yaffe. Ne wajjawo omujaasi yali Lieutenant Colonel nga bamuyita Ojukwu Ondumegwa. N'adesigninga bendera, n'adesigninga national anthem, n'azimba amagye, n'atandika okunoonya ebyokulwanisa, n'alangirira ensi etali Nigeria, ng'ensi eyo bagiyita Biafra. Battiŋŋana nnyo 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 nnyo. America mu biseera bya Abraham Lincoln, abantu ab'omu Mambuka n'ab'engulu, North and South, balina olutalo, civil war, kuviira ddala 1860 paka 1865. Aba-America battiŋŋana. Ensonga sijja kuzigenda mu nnyo. Naye nakati w'ogenda e Georgia awali ekibuga kya Atlanta n'owaana Abraham Lincoln, bajja gamba oli mulalu, oyo yatutta, Katonda atumalewo. Bakunyumiza General Sherman eyakuma omuliro mu nnimiro z'abantu, abantu ne bafa enjala. Buli ggwanga lirina ekkubo bwe likwata, era buli ggwanga libeera ne history, ebyafaayo. Naye ekyawulwa, enjawulo eriwo wakati w'eggwanga erisobola okusituka neggwanga erisigala mu bwavu na mu kwesaasira kiva mu bukulembeze. Ate obukulembeze olina kulembeza birowoozo si katemba. Kati bino ebirowoozo ebiri mu manifesto yaffe nga gye nsookeddeko, obukulembeze obulina okwesigama ku buweereza, obukulembeze obugenda okuteeka essira okunyiga ebiwundu bya Uganda, national reconciliation. Ekyo kye kigendererwa kyaffe. Ekyokusatu, tulina okutuula tukaanye kye bayita consensus. Walina okubaawo okukaanya. Kati okukaanya tekitegeeza nti okaanya ne gw'okkiriziganya naye. Ti ono munywani wange buli kimu tusa kimu, kati tugenda kaanya naye. Kati mukaanya biki? Kukaanya kitegeeza otuula ne gw'oli gw'otayagalira ddala kumulaba, nga buli kyayogera tokikiririzaamu. N'olwekyo nsaasira nnyo eggwanga lyaffe olw'obukulembeze obusiga obukyayi n'okukuma mu bantu omukka. Kati ng'omukulembeze wa DP nze nkulembera Ipod, ekitongole kya Ipod ekigatta ebibiina ababaka mu Parliament. Bannaffe aba NUP boogedde bingi, era n'abannamawulire bulijjo mubadde munnoonya kubanga mwagala nyingire mu katemba wammwe. Ebyo bye muteeka ku TikTok weewaawo tukikiriza, baayogera bingi. Tetuyinza kutuula ne dictator, bamaawo bagenda kunywa caayi, Museveni ekimutta ayagala kwekubisa ekifaananyi ne Kyagulanyi, kwegamba okuvimbavimba ebitaliimu. Kati nammwe mwagala nange nyingire mu katemba oyo. Ebiseera by'emabega baali tebaagala kwegatta ku Ipod. Ekyo kyali kirowoozo kyabwe. Baayogera bingi, to hell with Ipod, to hell with Ipod money, tugenda kola biki, baayogera bingi. Naye ensi ekusomesa n'oyiga. Kati mu pozisoni eyo bavuddeyo bawandiise ne bagamba nti baagala kuteekako omukono ku ndagaano egatta ebibiina ebiri mu Ipod. Ekyo kirungi. Omusamize okulokola kiba kibi. Tomujjukiza biri bye yalimu. Ti tukulaba wano wali oyimba jjajja Muwanga, kati oyimba aleluya, obadde ki? Omuntu bw'atyo mulina kumwaniriza, mwebaze Mukama. Gavana tulina kwebaza Mukama olw'enkyukakyuka ezizze mu mitima gy'abaana baffe. Ekibiina ekyo kirina abagoberezi bangi, bakikiririzaamu. Saba ba foot soldier abali mu kujerega abakulembeze. Kati tujja kubalaba. Okutuula mu Ipod si kulabisa muntu yenna. Olina okwebuuza, Uganda eneeba etya enkya n'okwosa enkya? Temunteeka mu bintu byammwe ti mwagala kubalabisa. Tewali gwe njagala kulabisa. Oba okutte ekkubo nga terikutwala bw'oyagala kulaga nga likubuza, okomawo osanga akapande wakasoma bubi. N'ogamba nti ninga yalabye akapande kanzireyo kasome bulungi. Kati akapande bakasomye bulungi. Tikino ekintu ky'Abannayuganda, si kya President Museveni. bakasoma bubi kati bagenze ne bakasoma bulungi. Naye bannaffe mubaliko tukujjukira ssebo ng'ogamba nti abamaawo bagenda kunywa caayi, abo baabagula bagenda kugabana sente, tewali bye bateesa, ne mugatako a few moments later mulekeraawo okulemesa abantu abaagala okulokoka. Nze ng'akulembera summit ya Ipod ndi musanyufu olw'ensonga eyo, kubanga n'akulira secretariat ya Ipod yawandiise n'abategeeza bulungi. Kwegamba ffe tuliwo okubatereeza timuleme kutabula amateeka n'ebyobufuzi. Toyinza kubimixinga. Obanga ayagala okumixinga amazzi ne butto tebimixinga. Ate baagala kusomesa nze minisita wa ssemateeka amateeka. Ipod weeri era buli kibiina ekiina ababaka mu palamenti Ipod erina okubaaniriza. Kati babawandiikidde ne babategeeza. Kati nze nga chairman wa summit nina okwebuuza ku bannange, bwe kiba kisoboka tutuule, tujja kutuula mu tenti emu, bannaffe mu lujjudde mu lwatu basayininge. Naye njogera y'Abannayuganda, mulemesa n'omuntu ayagala okwogera n'omukulembeze w'eggwanga. Mpulira abamu mbu simanyi beesiba gomesi yadde basajja bambala hijaabu. Nga lwaki temulaba Nancy Pelosi owa America eyayuza speech ya Donald Trump enkeera ne bukya nga ali mu White House atudde ne Donald Trump? Mutandika temukaanyiza, naye we mumaliriza mujja kuba mukaanyiza. Ebyo bye by'obufuzi ebigenda okuzimba Uganda. Naye kati muli awo mubapikamu omukka. Tetujja kubalabayo, temugendayo. Kati oli mukulembeze, lwaki okkiriza abakugoberera be bakulembera? Oli awo obuuza lino lyekkubo oba liri lyekkubo, kitegeeza toli qualified kubeera mukulembeze. Ate tekiri mu bibiina byokka, ne mu bukulembeze bw'eggwanga. Mujjukire President Museveni we yasalawo nti gavumenti eteese n'abayeekera ba LRA, ate nga emabegako ye kennyini yali alayide, sisobola kuteesa nabo, ngenda kubamalawo. Nga waliwo n'abamupikamu omukka. Oli Saabalwanyi, oteesa otya n'abantu abo? Naye we kyagwera twasobola okumumatiza nti omuntu oyo gwoyogerako ayina abaana baffe mitwalo na mitwalo. Buli lwe mukubayo bbomu abaana baffe aba LRA be baawamba be bafa, si bayeekera, they are victims. Oluvannyuma n'akyusa ebirowoozo bye n'agamba tujja kuteesa. E London twalina abakyoli abadduka wano mu 86 ne bagenda e London. Ng'okulaba omuntu nga Norbert Mao nti yeesimbyewo kujja mu palamenti, nyini bagiyita palamenti ya Museveni. Twatuula nabe London, eyali akiikiridde omuyeekera Joseph Kony n'ajja ne speech y'omuyeekera. Yali tanaba na kugenda wala na speech, yayogera bwogezi nti Joseph Kony Major General abatumidde basebo ne banyabo. Wulira enduulu n'engalo emizira dakiika 5 ne ntunuulira abakulembeze bannange ne ŋŋamba nti kweri tuli bakulembeze? bano tebatulabawo. Nali ntudde ne kati Chief Justice Owindolo, nange ndiawo Honorable Kumuregan, Bokelokelo, baani ababaka 11. Oluvannyuma nensituka ne ŋŋamba mutumanyidde nnyo. Wano ndabamu ba general abali mu gavumenti ya Titokero. Kiki ekyabaddusa? Banansiko bayava eri ne babagoba mu buyinza. Mulina amagye, mulina ne ssente za Bank of Uganda. Musooke mutunnyonnyole, tuli mu kubonaabona kubanga obuyinza temwabukwata bulungi. Mulina na kwenenya. Nenzijjayo passport yange ne magamba okubeera refugee obanga oli mu exile tekitegeeza nti oli wa kitalo nnyo. Kitegeeza nti odduse musajja munno akugobye. Abamu afazaali baasibira Kenya wano. Kati gwodduse paka London. Osimba line Queen akuwe kasente. Ffe boovuma tetubatunze kubanga tuli mu parliament ya Museveni. Ffe twogerera bamaama bammwe ne bataata bammwe bemulese e Uganda. Wembanga muli bakitalo, lwaki temuli mu nsiko ne LRA? Muli wano mu kulya sausage. Nange nsobola okuyuza passport yange ne neewandiisa nfuuke refugee wano e London. Kijja kunfuula wanjawulo nnyo. Obanga walinnya ennyonyi ng'oli musiru, na wano era okyali musiru. Kubanga okulinnya ennyonyi tekikufuula mugezi. Baanyiiga nnyo nnyo enkeera ne bampandiika ebbaluwa ya pages 14. Oyo Mao era akolera Museveni, maama we Munyankole, Museveni ye kojjaawe, biki ne banjogerera amafuukule. Naye ebigambo byange byatandikawo new chapter. Kati na bino byenjogera kati mulaba new chapter. Ebiseera biri nga bwe tutuuza summit ya Ipod, Nandala talinnyayo, Amuria talinnyayo. Ng'olumala okutuula nga bafulumya ekiwandiiko. Bamao bali awo, beebo bali mu kulya ssente, nakwata bifaananyi nakunywa caayi. Temwabalabe juuzi nga tuyimiridde twaniriza pulezidenti w'eggwanga? N'abakulembeze ba NUP tujja kuyimirira nabo. Mujja kiraba. Ate temukiyita kulabisa. Obwo bwe bukulembeze obwetaagisa. Olaba paapa omulamba yafukamira wansi n'akomba ku ngatto za ba warlords be Juba, South Sudan. Olowooza obwo si bukulembeze? Paapa omugerageranya ne ba warlords bano ababbi n'abatujju abayita abakulembeze. Naye olw'okubanga alengera wala ku myaka gye n'asitama n'afukamira n'akomba ku ngatto za Riek Machar, Salva Kiir, ono namwandu wa John Garang, Rebecca Nyandeng. Mwalaba ekyavaamu kuswala. Bali baswala nnyo. Naffe ogenda mu nsiko okuhaginga Joseph Kony. Ndaba oluusi muteekawo bifaananyi byange. Oyo ye Mao. Siri muyeekera. Newankubadde nga balowooza nti ndi muyeekera. A new Uganda yeetaaga new consensus. Kukaanya ne be tubadde tulwana nabo, ne be tubadde tuyomba nabo. Kati oli president w'ekibiina weeyita mukulembeze. Okkiriza otya ba foot soldier be bakulembeza, be bakulembera kati? Be bakulagira ekyokukola. Kitegeeza toli mukulembeze. Afazaali tambula bw'omu nga Musa bwe yakola. Musa yatuuka ekiseera nga tebamukiririzaamu. Naye n'agamba missoni yange yakubanunula. Era ebizibu byammwe mbitegeera. Nga Columbus ng'agenda America. amagye geediima. Columbus n'agamba apaana tetugenda kuddayo mabega. Omukulembeze atayagala kukulembera nga ye byayogera ayagala bamukubira enduulu. Oluusi ebimu by'oyogera tebijja kusanyusa bagoberezi bo. Ky'oba olaba nti kati ku social media olaba bali mu kukuba abakulembeze ba NUP ti lwaki bakonkona ku luggi lwa NUP. Ffe tuli basanyufu abali munda. Tuwulira kokoko ani oyo NUP bannaye nga tusanyusa okubalaba. Tubeeko bye tutereza muyingire. Saayogera wano nti oba kyetaaga kufukamira nja kufukamira, saakyogera. Naye kati abamu muli kubateekamu ebigambo ebinaabalemesa. Nsaba ba foot soldier mutusonyiwemuuko katono, tuli bakulembeze. Mu kaseera kano akazibu mu Uganda, mutukkirize tubakulembere. Tekitegeeza nti abagenda okutuula mu Ipod be bagenda okusalirawo buli kimu mu Uganda. Naye nga ffenna tulina be tukiikirira, tulina be turepresentinga. Nayogera wano ne ngamba nti gavumenti eddako ejja kubeera gavumenti ya bibiina byonna. Era mujja kiraba. Ejja kubeera grand coalition nga buli Munnayuganda alaba nti eno gavumenti enkolera. Gavumenti y'abeegasi. Naye nga DP ffe twesiba bbiri ne tugamba nti nga bulijjo katukulembere. Ne batwogerera ne batuvuma buli kimu. Si gwe gusoose. Mujjukira Katikkiro gwe baali bayita Michael Kintu. Yali tayagalira ddala kigambo DP. Naye baatandika okutambula wamu ne Benedicto Kiwanuka. Ate abamu ne bayomba. Ti oyo yalwanisa kabaka yekka biki lwaki otambula naye. Trump yalangirira nti agenda mu North Korea okusinkana omukulembeze wa North Korea. Mu America ogende North Korea obanga agenze mu Gehenna. Naye Trump yakikola obwo obukulembeze. Juzi mwamulaba ne Putin. Ate nga abakulembeze abamu bagamba tebayinza kutulaba ne Putin. Juzi foreign minister we Russia yajja wano e Uganda. Munnamawulire n'abuuza president waffe n'agamba bagamba nti mutya okwekubisa ebifaananyi n'abava e Russia. President n'asituka n'agamba sebo jangu tukwate ebifaananyi. N'ajjako ne mask. N'agamba katukikole. Eggulu terijja kuggwa. Sigamba nti enjuba ejja kufubutuka mu buvanjuba, mu bugwanjuba. Tebijja kukyusa bingi. Abaana baffe mubawe omutima ogwagala eggwanga. Muve mu bino ebyokubagamba nti bagenda kubasekerera. Bakusekerere. Obanga oli musamize osazeewo okulokoka, abasamize bakusekerere. Tewali mutawaana. Kasita gwe osazeewo. Gaffe DP we twasalawo. Wano nga DP ne UPC tetukwatagana. Naye 96 twalaba Dr. Semogere ng'atambula ne Cecilia Ogwala. Ba DP ne bamwogerera. Abo be babba obululu bwaffe kati lwaki otambula nabo? Mu byobufuzi walina okubeerawo improvement. Ebitutwala mu maaso. Basamize. Bano bakkiriza mu Katonda omu. Bali balina bukatonda nga 1000. Ow'enkuba, simanyi ow'okuzaala, owa biki. Ffe tulina omu yekka kamala byonna. Buli kimu akimaliriza. Wamala. oye Katonda waffe mara magambo. Kati Interreligious Council of Uganda egatta aba Orthodox, abalokole, egatta aba Seventh Day, egatta abakatoliki, abakristaayo n'abasiraamu. Kati teebereza singa abasiraamu batandika kwekalakaasa nti mufti togendayo otudde n'abamu abali embizi, awo oba ovudde ku mulamwa. Kuba ekibagatta kye muteekako essira mu kibalo bakiyita intersection, abaasoma ku sets. Ebibiina bya Uganda tezisobola kubeera disjoint sets, kubanga disjoint sets kitegeeza oli wano, oli ali wali, oli ali wali. Waliwo ebitugatta intersection. Kyekigendererwa kya Ipod era kyekigendererwa kya Interreligious Council of Uganda. Naffe abakristaayo tetuyinza gamba nti Archbishop Kazimba kati bajja kumusaba abeere ne haki nnya we bituuse. Sebo Archbishop abo beewale. Ogwo si gwe mulamwa. Oba bajja kukaka Archbishop w'abakatoliki awase. Ebigendererwa bya Interreligious Council of Uganda weebiri. Tuyina East African Community. Tekikufuula muna Kenya kubanga Uganda erina omukago ne Kenya ne Tanzania ne Rwanda. Tuyina East African Community. Nammwe abakulembeze mukulembere. Eyo y'engeri yokka gye tugenda okutwala Uganda mu maaso. Eyo ye new consensus for a new Uganda. Toyinza kubeera ne new Uganda awatali new consensus. Olaba ne campaign etandise okufuuka nzibu kubanga n'abamagye, poliisi, mpulira mu abavubuka kati mugamba campaign ebowa. Ku campaign kye mutabeera mutia gas. Nakusiba ku bantu empingo. Tebijja kubaawo. Oba ebyo bye bibadde bibawo obululu muswadde. Munnaffe yagende Nakaseke n'ebyokwogera ne bimubula. Yatandika agamba nti oyo Salim Saleh yali kyali wange, sebo kyali wange, sijja kutwala bubi biki. Nga manifesto temuli mu Salim Saleh. Naye nga kati ayino ebyo byalina okwogera. Esaidi zeruuka, bannayuganda temujja kuvanga ku CNN kubanga bajja kuba bawaana First Lady wammwe. Bajja gamba President wa Uganda ng'ayina kabeeba kalungi. Buli omu kati annyonnyole eggwanga enkyukakyuka ki gy'agenda okuleeta mu Uganda. Bino bikatemba bya poliisi kukuba tear gas na biki tebiriiwo. Kati yogera. Omanye dda twali baana bato nga batutuma bana abavubuka abakulu abalowooza nti kati bakuze basobola okukwana. Gamba genda ompitira omuwala oyo. Kanga oli mwana wa myaka 7. Myaka 7 otambula mpola mpola. Oli omwami akuyita. Kati ujja. Wampise? Naakuyiseeko. Kaana gwe. Nga toyina byakwogera. Ffe batuwa buswiti nagamba nti oyo muwala oyo mulaba genda omumpitire. Naawe ogenda. Nyabo oli omwami agambye gendayo alina kyagamba. Sebo olina ky'oŋŋamba? Gwakaana lekera okunsiriwalirako. Kati kampeyini efuuse nzibu kubanga olina kati okwogera eri Abannayuganda. Tojja gamba nti mundabe bankubye tiyagaasi gundi bamukutte biki tebiriiwo. Yogera kati ensonga. Kuba kati Abannayuganda bayimiridde otuyise. Okay, tuzze kati tunnyonnyole. Naye biri oyagala rale eyiike oleme kuyita kigezo kya kunnyonnyola abantu. tewali agenda kuyiwalaaleyo yogera oleme kufuuka nga bano abavubuka abaatutumanga ffe tukola omulimu gwaffe tugamba wuuno sebo launching a manifesto. Hey. Omanyi bino ebintu si byangu. Nze nabagambye blocks 2 weeziri. Waliwo block eno erimu President Museveni ne bannaffe abamu abalala bakyali mu kkubo. Twagala tuteese naye nga tetweteeseza ffekka, tuteeseza betugoberera tuzimbe Uganda empya. Ate ne issues weeziri. Eno nsi nzibu nnyo. President wa Uganda alina okutuula ne Putin amutunuulire mu maaso ayogere ku nsonga z'amafuta ne natural gas. Tojja gamba nti a new Uganda si bwe bityo bwe bibeera. New Uganda si slogan. New slogan kitegeeza nti oyina master plan, oyina architecture, oyina building materials, n'abazimbi obalina. Kati abazimbi mumalabye. Nze sifaayo kati muntu agamba akolerera Museveni. Kati Museveni waba akolerera Uganda, lwaki oyagala nenenye? To say sorry, if he's working for Uganda and I'm working for him, then I'm also working for Uganda. Newemba nga nsomba omusenyu mu wheelbarrow, naye nga nzindi mu kuzimba cathedral, tambula nvimba. Kuba mmanyi nti waliwo kyengatta ku project ennene. Kusinga gwayimiridde wali ng'oli mu kunjerega. Mu Uganda tulinamu the doers, be bali mu Ipod kati. Tulinamu ba reactionaries, bo mulimo gwabwe kujerega. Ekibinja ekyokusatu spectators, be mwe bloggers bichi ulira gundi bamuvumye olwaleero Mao bumukeredde bubi ku media bichi. You are just commentators. I want to be a doer, I don't want to be a reactionary, and I don't want to be a commentator. Afazali mbeere n'ennamba ku mugongo gwange nga ndi mu kisaawe menyeko okugulu for a cause. Naye simenyese lwa kutamiira nagenda Namboole na kuvuga bubi border just as a commentator. Twagala kugumya bannaffe aba NUP, temuwuliriza bano ba bloggers. Mujje tutuule tuganda obwebwe bukulembeze kuba ndaba kati muli ready. Nga DP tulina ensonga nyingi mu manifesto. Government of National Unity tukisabira. Toyinza kubeera muntu avuga emmotoka nga buli lw'okyusa giya engine ezikira. Eyo ye story ya Uganda. Toyinza kuva mu number 2 paka number 3 nga engine tezikidde. Constitution yaffe yeetaaga kuddaabiriza, tuteekemu ne term limits. Ekya truth and reconciliation, okwenenya n'okusonyiwagana. Ffe tukkiriza mu kulonda okwesigamye ku bibiina, tukiyita proportional representation. Ekintu kino bulijjo mbadde nkyogerako. Kati tunuulira wano Kampala, lwaki Nakawa abeera n'ababaka 2 bokka kusinziira ku population eyo? Kati Kyamuswa omuli abalonzi oba 4,000 nabo babeera n'omubaka. Kampala ina okubeera n'ababaka abalinga 30. Eyo nsonga si ya Norbert Mao, ya Democratic Party kuva dda. Ate mmwe abayimiridde wano mubeera ba MP naye nga mulina okureflectinga democratic party byekkiririzaamu. Enjiri si yammwe naye ina kubeera ya kibiina kyammwe, naye ojja genda mu field ng'oyogera bibyo. Olaba ne mu kusaba bagamba nti enjiri ya leero eva mu Matayo, naye g'oyimirira n'ogamba kati bino byange, toyina bibyo. Oyaba toyagala kwogera ku nsonga za DP, beera independent, tumanye nti toyina number plate. Kubanga emmotoka etalina number plate tomanyi oba evudde Sudan oba evudde Rwanda, era bwekutomera tewali musango. Kati mwe tugenda bawa number plates zaffe DP. Tulina okuzzaawo ebisanja, tulina okukendeeza ku nnamba y'ababaka, ne districts nyingi nnyo tulina ozikendeezaako. Tulina okwata olugendo olutwala mu federo, naye nga tetunatuuka mu federo tuve ku level eno eya decentralization etakoze bulungi, kubanga buli kimu tebazisalirawo mu district, buli kimu kiva mu central government. Afazaali tutandike nga bannakenya balina counties, buli county ebeera ne budget. Teebereza singa mu kifo kya budget zino okubeera mu ministries zaffe, budget ya Rubaga ne bagikwasa Rubaga, wobaawo okwekalakaasa abantu bajja kgenda ku kitebe kya Rubaga. Naye kati buli omu anoonya President Museveni waali asobole okwekalakaasa. Tulina okusasula abakoseddwa naddala mu ntalo zino ze tubaddemu. Ate ne tugattako ti n'amadiini, faith-based organizations, balina okufuna kasente akava mu ggwanika lya Uganda okukola projects ezimu, kubanga ow'omuluka tasobola kubba sente ze za PDM kubanga mubeera wamu, naye parish chief oba bamu avudde eggulu bamuleese wano e Rubaga enkyanganyuka, naye ow'omuluka parish priest omanyi wabeera. Kino ekintu kijja kukola nga kiri rooted mu community. Ekirala, twagala abavubuka beeweeyo okuweereza eggwanga nga bannamagye, ate kibeere compulsory. Buli atudde ekigezo kya A-level abeere mu magye kumala emyaka 2 oba 3, oluvannyuma agende mu university. Era osigala oli w'amagye, sigala oli w'amagye paka myaka 55, obeera mu reserve. Ng'ensi endala weerumba Uganda bayita ennamba yo ne bakuzaayo okole refresher course nga bakwasa ebyokulwanisa frontline. Gwolowooza ani agenda okufiirira? Lino ggwanga lyo tewali be baazaala nti bano be bagenda otufiirira buli kaseera, kubanga abamu temwagala kumanya bya defense. Tewali Katonda be yatonda ti bano balina kuba bajaasi nga bwe kyali emabegako, kubanga emabegako baagamba nti abantu b'engulu be basobola okubeera bajaasi. Mu kaseera kano buli omu asobola okubeera omujaasi, kubanga sina bya kifuba nnyo ennaku zino kunyiga bunyizi trigger, naye teebereza ebiseera biri nga kulwanisa mafumu. N'ennamba y'abaminisita erina okukendeera. Ekirala kino kati ekiringa nga PDM ffe twakiyise conditional cash transfer. Gavumenti webeera ne sente esobola okugabirako bannansi, naye ng'eteekako conditions. Va mu butamiivu, abaana bo olina okulaba nga babagema, olina okulaba nga bagenda ku ssomero UPE conditions ezo. Ekirala kukendeeza bbeeyi y'amasannyalaze. Emabegako twalina ekitongole ki UEB naye ne bakitematemamu ne batandikawo ebitongole bisatu. Ekimu ekya generation ekya dams, ekyokubiri ekya transmission, zino waya zino ezitambula mayiro na mayiro. Ekitongole kirala kyekya distribution, abo abakuwa amasannyalaze nga bajje ku wires zino. Owa generation ayagala amagoba, owa transmission ayagala amagoba, n'owa distribution ayagala amagoba. Kati engeri gye ndabamu bino byonna bagenda kubitereeza tubeere n'ekitongole kimu. Kitegeeza nti bbeeyi y'amasannyalaze egenda kukka wansi. Twetaaga national health insurance, ate tubeere ne national health service nga nini yo national ID number yo gy'owaayo ng'ogenze mu ddwaliro ne bamanya nti ono Munnayuganda asaanidde okufuna obujjanjabi. Nga mu America obeera ne social security number. Social security number eyina data yo yonna, teweetaaga na kujjukira kintu kirala kyonna kasita ojjukira ekintu ekyo. Abaana abatanaweza myaka 5 babajjanjabira bwereere, ne ba senior citizens abawezezza emyaka 7. Mu kuyamba abavubuka okwezimba n'okubeera n'amayumba, tulina kubawaayo ka incentive. Incentive kitegeeza nti oteekawo akantu akanaabasikiriza okukola ekituufu. Ennaku zino abawala n'abalenzi tebakyayagala bufumbo. Osanga omuntu n'omubuuza ata ono yaani ti mukwano gwange. Mukwano gwo wa ngeri ki? Abantu tebakyayagala na kusalawo. Muve mu by'okuloza musalewo. Kati gavumenti ya DP ejja kubayambako okusalawo. Mujjukira mu biology twalina kye baali bayita phototrophism. Oba oyagala bino ebirime byewetemu, oblockinga ekitangaala mu sides zonna n'olekawo side emu, lazima kijja kweweta ku side erina ekitangaala. Ekyo baali bakiyita phototrophism. Ono scientist, phototrophism. Waliwo ne geotropism, nobeera ne hydrotropism. Kati naffe tugenda tuteekawo mortgage trophism. Kati ojja kusobola okwewola ssente gwe ne munno mufune ekyapa kyammwe nga mwembi amannya gammwe bali ku kyapa. Mu myaka 20 kati muli mu kusasula rent, ojja kufuluma ennyumba nga toyina yadde kano kapata k'olugi, tojja kufuluma nako. Kati landlord oba omuzimbidde ennyumba namba, manyi wano tulina abantu abapangisiza emyaka mingi. Kati w'obala ssente zonna z'osasudde zibadde zisobola n'okuzimbira ennyumba singa kifuuka mortgage. Naye mortgage eyo erina okuwa abavubuka omutima ogw'okubeera mu nnyumba ng'abafumbo. Ate interest rate ejja kuba wansi nnyo. Ne bw'oba ng'ofuna ssente ntono, katugambe ti ofuna $50,000, mortgage nga buli mwezi osasula $15,000, myaka 20 bala ssente z'oba osasudde. Ebintu ebyo byonna bijja kuyamba eggwanga lyaffe okuba n'amaanyi. Mu manifesto yaffe nga bwe tumanyi nti sub-regions mu Uganda ziringa nga 16. We ziba nnyingi 18. mu parliament kisinziira ku namba y'abantu. Kati abakugu ba America waliwo kye baayiiya, bateekawo House of Representatives ga basinziira ku namba y'abantu, naye ne bateekawo Senate nga buli state nebabanga erina abantu bangi nga California oba New York ebeera ne ba senators babiri, nga yenkanankana ne Alaska etaliimu n'abantu bangi. Ne mu Uganda twetaaga balance eyo, okubalansinga region za Uganda. Ate temulowooza nti mujja kukopa by'abalala, temujja kukoma ku ekyo, naye nga nze ndaba nga ekyo kiyinza okutukolera. Nga bateesa ku ssemateeka baali bakiise National Council of State. Ekirowoozo ekyo kirina okukomawo era DP ekiwagira. Ekisembayo kyekyokuteekawo administrative capital. Kampala ejja kufuuka commercial city, naye nga tulina okufuna awalala mu Uganda tuteekewo capital city omutuula abakulembera eggwanga. Tanzania yakikoze, Dar es Salaam nefuuka commercial capital, kati balina Dodoma. Ne Nigeria yakikoze, Abuja kati ye capital city, Lagos kati eri commercial. Ate abamu we mutunuulira ensi endala, kati tunuulira nga America, w'oyogera ku Florida, ekibuga kya Miami kyekisinga obunene, ate naye nga si ye capital city. Capital city ye Tallahassee. Ogenda e California oyinza olowooza nti Los Angeles oba San Francisco ye capital, naye nga capital ya California eri Sacramento. Era ne Uganda ekyo tulina okukikola. Abakola sente tubalekere ekibuga kyabwe banoonye sente. Abaagala ogenda kuweereza mu ofiisi za gavumenti babeere ne capital city endala. Ndowooza tewali kyendeseewo. Waliwo ekisigadde kiriwa? Nze sibaddeewo Kampala, naye nga bwe bagamba binsanga wano. Nagenda okutunulira ku simu yange olumu naye ndaba nga ali Bugiri ng'ayogerera Asumaani Basalirwa. Mbu Asumaani Basalirwa alidde mu struggle olukwe. Bukulwaki? Bulwaki atadde omukono ku ndagaano ya Ipod. Ate bo bennyini basabye okuteekako omukono ku ndagaano ya Ipod. Ekyo we kibanga kintu kibi nnyo, we gubanga musango, lwaki bo baagala kukikola? Mwe mulaba nga kikwatagana, ekyo kye bayita blackmail. Bw'onenya Asumaani Basalirwa ti lwaki ali mu Ipod, naye nga naawe kennyini oyagala oyingire Ipod. Ng'omukulembeze wa DP tujja genda tulwanirire munnaffe Asumaani Basalirwa, kubanga ateesa bulungi ate atunula wala, si bano abatunula okumpi. Tetulina candidate wa DP mu Bugiri municipality. Asumaani nja kusaba bamemba baffe bagende bamuwagire, na bano bannaffe abamwogerera tujja kubaako bye tubuulira abantu ku nsonga zaabwe, kubanga kituyitiriddeko. Bo balowooza nti ffe tetubamanyiiko bintu bingi. Naddala nze kati ali mu gavumenti nga mmanyi bingi. N'olwekyo njagala kubalabula bave mu by'okutiisatiisa abantu. Abalonzi b'e Bugiri municipality tebalabawo musango gwonna ku Asumaani okubeera mu meeting za Ipod, kubanga nabo bali mu kkubo era bagenda okujja tusimbe layini emu ng'abakulembeze b'ebibiina, era omukulembeze w'eggwanga waabazze ffenna tujja kumwaniriza ng'omukulembeze w'eggwanga. Oluvannyuma tutuule tuteese, nabo bajja kwogera ebyabwe. Bino si gamba nti w'otuuka mu meeting ya Ipod bakuteekamu ka disiki mu mutwe gwo nga bano ba DJ bwe bakola. Olina okujja n'ebirowoozo byo. Si gamba nti w'oyingira mu meeting ya Ipod bakyusa obwongo bwo. Obwongo bwo bwe bukyuka, ogwo musango gwo, si musango gwa Ipod. Njagala Abannayuganda balwanise kino ekyoku blackmailinga abakulembeze abalala. Asuman basalirwa talina musango, kubanga okubeera mu Ipod si musango. Naye yasazeewo ng'omukulembeze okulaba ng'eggwanga tulitwala mu maaso. Kati banga musango, lwaki kati bali ku luggi bakonkona? Ate nze nga akulira summit ya Ipod, nze ngenda okubaaniriza. Ebbaluwa muzirabye. Ate buli kintu tukikola openly. Naye bwe bawuliriza ba foot soldier bajja kubanga abaana abazira emmere ku ssaawa y'okulya, naye olw'enjala bawulira ssaawa 8 gwa kiro nga balwana n'amasepiki. Tetwagala tutuuke ku level eyo. Bamanye nti Ipod si ya President Museveni. Ipod ya Uganda era ya Bannayuganda. Balina okulaga obuvumu, basalewo bajje gye tuli, bave mu katemba, kubanga kano akalulu kalaze ekifaananyi ekirala ekiri mu ggwanga. Muleme kugamba nti kano akalulu kabowa. Kalulu tekabowa. Twagala akalulu akeesigamye ku issues, si katemba. Ndowooza kyekibuuzo kyokka ekiriwo. Ky'olina okumanya nti waliwo NRM, ekibiina ekiri mu buyinza. Waliwo Government of Uganda. Ndowooza mu campaign mulaba Leader of Opposition Joel Ssenyonyi ayingirawo ng'ali mu motoka ya government. Ne konvoyi ye yenkana kumpi konvoyi ya Prime Minister. Ayina obukuumi obuwera. Kati lwaki gw'ogamba nti gwe toli mu kulya ssente za gavumenti? Era oli mu kuzirya, naye olyanga enkoko, olya bw'osangula emimwa. Thank you very much.